we are all observing the market. Right now, yes, the talk in the wind is moving out of the Swift and moving into the Ripple net. Now that talk is positive, but the scenario where it's being brought in may not be. But yes, what you have to look at is Europe, US, and everyone else is kind of putting Russia into that corner where they need to do something differently. They need to do something to survive. So right now you observe all these stuff and you're like, okay, fine, US Treasury announces sanctions on Russia, imposing swift and severe economic Now, understand this, that still stands. Visa, Mastercards, the payment providers are going against Russia. So the talk here is, yes, they are going to move on to Ripple net. So do you really believe that's going to happen? And we need to actually look through the recent past to understand what is going to happen. So yes, Ripple has a lot of partners. They do provide on-demand liquidity. They have a service, all around the globe. And yes, there was a news in Triangle showing they are going to add a Russian channel. Now they do have a lot of other channels, but they were also highlighting this. But what are the odds of Russia being able to use RippleNet or XRP to go, dodge the current sanctions? That's what we are going to discuss, because on the other end of this, you are looking at the price and you're saying we are not going up, we are not going down, we are still inside the pattern where we were before this all started. So let's dig deeper into this and see what really is happening behind us. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. Now, yes, we do understand that RippleNet is all across the globe, but look at where it's focused. This blue one is RippleNet, and the green one is on-demand liquidity. You see Latin America, you see Australia, you see Japan, but you don't actually see big portion of the world using it. Agreed. Now you don't even see the RippleNet being used in this region. You see the grayed out area? So the question is, they are coming out with digital ruble, they are coming out with that central bank digital currency. On which platform it's going to be built? So the first stuff is, okay, that's really hard, because RippleNet is focused on these. Ripple, the company, is running a payment solution for the world, not just for Russia. But yes, it's a competitor of Swift network, which is, kind of that antiquated solution. But right now, this is something you need to consider. If US government, the Department of Treasury, has gone against Russia putting all these sanctions, I don't think all these banks inside RippleNet, which are also there in Swift, is going to allow Russia to do those transactions. Now you go through and you kind of look at what's happening right now, because Russian imports from other countries relying for daily use is much lesser. But if you look at the Russian oil going out just for US, this is the situation. It's like around 8% is from Russia. Now yes, majority comes from Canada. They can boost it up. They can even increase it from Saudi and others. But the cost is going to increase. It's already skyrocketing. So they are going to definitely have impact. Whether the government decide to continue its push towards the ban of Russian oil or not, the common man is going to get the heat from this. Now, you need to first understand how things are going to evolve, and this should directly come from those who are in RippleNet, those who have built that system, those who know how that system works. So this is one of that. So in this particular tweet, Brad Garlinghouse highlights the same stuff. It's really hard for Russia to use crypto to dodge these sanctions, and especially if it's completely regulated. RippleNet is a network which has a lot of partners. I do agree on that point, but it's completely regulated. So it is not possible for them to take this network to dodge the sanctions. And you also have to understand the entire cryptocurrency market right now is just $2 trillion. And you go below this and look at the liquidity of individual stuff, and you're like, okay, will that be enough for liquidity for Russia in order to dodge these sanctions, which may not make much sense? Then you continue. If you look at Ripple, most of the executives, including Brad, then Ashish, gave you that highlight. This is what's going to happen, and you don't actually see a ton of liquidity to do this because Russia need this one. Now, I know this is not that positive news which you came in for, but this news has been there for some time that Russia is going to be kicked out from the SWIFT network. So they were already preparing for something better. Now, this is page 11 of document, which is showing you, yes, RippleNet's messaging system is using a decentralized network, and it's much better than SWIFT. I agree on that point. But the question is, who are all on this board? This is international stuff where, they have a lot of other nations who are now standing against Russia. So now you go to look at what Russia thinks about this. This is like 4-year-old. That's not based on the Ukraine stuff. Russia's banking system has SWIFT alternative ready. Now, why do you think this is happening? Because back in the days, they had similar issues, the political stuff, and this news was there. They were all thinking because of that attack in this Crimea area, eastern Ukraine, this was going to be executed. Now, the talk was there, disconnecting SWIFT and Russia. But, we are still there. And from that time, they were working on a domestic payment system. And right now, you go look at what's happening. They are connecting this mirror with the Union Pay of China. Now, ask yourself, how many of the governments, Western governments, are going to go completely against China? Yeah, I know when Trump was there, he did a lot of stuff, but I don't think Biden is going to do that. The inflation is already hitting their back. And if they want to push their people more into the inflationary environment and put them into trouble just because they want to prove they are the supreme leader of the world, it's going to be hard. But understand this. This is going to be a scenario where they are going to move into different zone. This allows them to transfer worldwide because, most of the countries accept Union Pay and their messaging platform. So you now go and see like, okay, Visa and Mastercard announce that they are not going to deliver their services to the Russians. Great. So when you go into the news, what do you see? Visa down 5%, Mastercard down something similar. So is that positive news for those two networks? No, obviously not, because they are payment network which is being used as a tool or a weapon for US or other governments to put pressure on another government. So once you go through this and you're like, okay, are these people who are talking about the integration of Ripple, XRP into this completely idiots? No, I wouldn't say that, because if you go to a research publication here, you get this banking on blockchain, and this is from Russia. St. Petersburg, Russia. So you go down, you read through this. If you want to, you can read it completely. You can just type in this head link in Google and you're going to get the article. If you want to, you can go to Google Scholar and do the same. But you come down and you see this image and you're like, okay, that's Ripple payment system. Yes, but it's old. Xrpl, the old platform, now they have updated it. It's even faster, even scalable, it's much better. But I completely say that they do understand how Ripple network works. They do understand how this system works, because Ripple does not supplant conventional payment channels such as SWIFT, but rather connects them. Keep this in your mind. This is coming from a researcher in Russia, published inside Russia, and they clearly highlight this. It's not going without that, but it's rather connecting all those together without the scalability issue or the fee issue from Swift. So yes, they come down and say Ripple has initially released this. The transaction is happening like this. You have a burn rate and all of those stuff. And again, this one is what you should be focusing on rather than the geopolitical scenario. Thus, the total amount of XRP currency will gradually decrease and its price will increase. That price will rise. Wow. Do you really understand what that means? Whether this payment involves RippleNet or not, the price is going to increase because of its structure. It's designed as an appreciating asset. Now, fine. You go in and you are like, okay, in Russia, the first such transaction was executed in 2016 using what? You come here, you read this, you understand that. You get the point? It's through Ethereum blockchain system. And do you think in such situation, Ether is going to allow this? No, you have already seen them blocking different countries recently. Crypto Twitter is showing you all of that stuff all around you. So you are like, okay, fine. In one way or the other, it's going to be really hard because, if you look at the other news here in the payments.com, you're getting like, okay, fine. At the bottom, they go again the same. The firm suggested it's received its first Ethereum payment last week. Okay, so again, it's an Ether. I haven't seen any payments in Ripple. Now, they can still use XRP and XRP Ledger. That's, completely decentralized, permissionless. That's all fine. That's all great. But not RippleNet, right? So here you see Russia expect to launch its digital ruble, central bank digital currency. But for what? They need this to transfer into another currency. If the other currency, say, is Indian rupees, it's fine because they've been silent on this issue. They're going to still be a trading partner for both US and Russia. That's going to be still there. So these are what you should be watching. Not just the, hype where it says, okay, we are going to do this, this is going to happen, blah, blah, blah. But understand this. We are going to regularly watch this and suggest what literally is happening because the reality is what you need to understand as an investor. Digital ruble trial goes live as Bank of Russia insists on Bitcoin ban. So they are not looking at using cryptocurrencies to dodge these stuff because they've been talking about this from a long time, right? They've been talking about this from a very long time about moving out of Swift because of the weaponization of the Swift network. So in 2018, you actually had this. What Bank of Russia suggests fintechs, Ethereum blockchain as single system. Now, I don't think the single system for Euro-Asia economic region is going to happen like that because the network, they'll still be waiting for ETH 2.0, maybe in 10 years time, I don't know. But that's kind of, not the actual scalable solution which you need. So in general, yes, you look at this and you are like, okay, there's a ton of fundamentals in this. Just in this one, and as you go higher, yes, you do see that. Just surf through this website and you are like, there's a ton of stuff which you really need to understand. But market and price is a little different. It plays out in cycles. Whether you are bullish or not, you need to understand whether the entire market is bullish or bearish. Now within that, let's move on to the price action, which is not that interesting. It's boring. We are up, we are down, but understand we are still maintaining the support here. Staying above 37,500, 38, that region is actually good for Bitcoin because that's a short-term support trend line. Now, if you break below that, you're going to go to 33, then you have the next support around 30, but understand this is a support as of now. So you go on, you look at what's happening in the market. Right now, it's showing you that it's still bouncing from that 38 mark, which is positive because that is your support line. So as far as the market goes, you're looking for Bitcoin and the crypto market to bounce from its support line. So what about XRP? You go look at XRP and you're like, okay, we are still inside this corrective pattern, but this is also followed by a bullish movement to the upside. So this correction is after the recent bullish move, and now you need to actually break higher. Now until you break, that's still a lot of sideways movement. So you go look at XRP BTC and you're like, okay, we are still inside this pattern. We have been here for some time, but the MACD right now suggests we are having a bullish divergence. That's from some time, and you're going to cross to the upside. So if that happens and we get a momentum like this, we are going to break higher, and that opens the doors towards, movement much higher than where we are right now, because we've been in this for some time, and moving higher here will give you more volume, so that the XRP USD pair will also have a stress relief and move higher. Now that is for XRP and XRP BTC and BTC pair. But when you look at the general market, yes, you are still inside this support. You are still having that inverse head and shoulder, which is a bullish reversal pattern. You haven't invalidated that. You are still inside that. So yes, you do need to bounce from this support, and you have to break through this resistance. But the market will show us what it's going to do. You can zoom in. You can go to a 4-hour chart. You can look at what we are doing. Yes, at the support, there is a lot of volatility. We are going to bounce. We are going to go down. That stuff is there. So wait until the market gives you a confirmation. Don't just jump onto anything hoping that this is going to do that. Because yes, if you are a long-term investor in one asset, you can do that. But in general, the crypto market right now is here. So this is Ether on a shorter time span. You look at the support and you're like, okay, the short-term support doesn't actually show that the price is holding, because it's slowly breaking to the downside. Now we can go to a daily, because those would be wicks on a daily. So you see that the price has been doing that. You take the close here and you see the price is breaking to the downside. Now, why is this happening when Bitcoin is holding? Even the entire altcoin market is holding. XRP especially is holding very great, because of the fundamental issue with Ethereum. Now, the recent lawsuits against Consensus, all those cases coming out showing what's happening behind this network, what's happening, those were kind of conspiracy before, but right now it's reality, and I don't think a lot of investors would be willing to take those risks for next 3 years, 5 years, if this is going to turn like that JP Morgan stuff. But yes, if you follow the news, you do understand that's not going to be positive for the entire network here. That is a fundamental change, because we were like, okay, that's a decentralized network. But right now, with what's happening with the MetaMask, in different regions, it's being blocked and all, it's not decentralized. It's also completely centralized. That's what we are understanding right now. So before you make any decision on any assets, you do have to look at what they are doing individually as a project and in price action, because price action would most likely be connected to the entire market cycle. But if the project fails, yeah, you drop 99%. But if the price is dropping but the project is doing fantastically great, the price is going to go back and it's going to be a buying opportunity for you. And that's one of the reasons why we do regular updates on most of the assets, so you know what that particular asset is doing. If you want to have a look at these, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. And guys, if you received value for your time here, please do hit that like and subscribe button. That supports the channel a lot. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.